Lu Zhishan shouted loudly in the crowd, "Move! Move! Get out of the way quickly!" Looking at the skid marks on the ground, Lu Zhishan brought this panicked horse-drawn carriage to a smooth halt with his human braking system, which was more advanced than any modern technology. After the danger had passed, Lu Zhishan sighed with relief, saying, "Everything is fine now. It's all good. It's all good. Let's go, let's go." The people around him expressed their admiration for Lu Zhishan's brave act, saying, "It was so dangerous. If it weren't for him, we would have been done for." At that moment, a young man approached and, filled with respect, said to Lu Zhishan, "Your Excellency Zhigong is so righteous and possesses extraordinary strength. I admire you." The two bold passers-by began to call each other brothers and drank wine in a tea house. There was a noise of wailing in the shop, which interrupted their conversation. Lu Zhishan told the waiter to go and he was crying. Lu Zhi asked a singing father and daughter why they were crying. The singing girl explained that they came from Tokyo and originally planned to visit relatives, but the relatives had moved away. They had no money to go home, and their mother had died of a heartache. Zhang Tu had forcibly married the singing girl as his concubine. They made a living by singing, but their income had decreased recently, and they were afraid of being chased for debt by the innkeeper. The young girl was in a hurry and started to cry. She didn't know that Lu official was here, and thus offended him. She hoped that Lu Zhi would show mercy. It was reported that Zhang Tu had opened a meat shop under the Zhuangyuan Bridge. The shop assistant was so intimidated by Lu Zhishan's presence that he addressed him as ancestor. Lu Zhishan then requested the shop assistant to keep him company, which the shop assistant reluctantly agreed to. Furthermore, Lu Zhishan asked the shop assistant to massage his legs, and despite some hesitation, the shop assistant complied. Ruda arrived at Zhang Tu's butcher shop and called out loudly, "Zhang Tu!" Startled, Zhang Tu hurried out to greet him and invited him to sit down. Ruda, acting on the orders of the Jinglu Shanggong, requested 10 jin of lean meat, chopped into mincemeat, with not a trace of fat allowed. Zhang Tu asked his assistant to select the meat, but Ruda insisted that he do it himself. Zhang Tu agreed and carefully chose 10 jin of lean meat, chopping it into mincemeat. The shop boys stood far away under the eaves, daring not to come closer. Zhang Tu chopped up the lean meat into minced meat, and Luda asked for another 10 pounds of fatty meat, also to be minced, but without any lean meat. Zhang Tu was confused and asked what the minced fatty meat was for. Luda, growing impatient, said that it was the master's order, and he dared not ask. Reluctantly, Zhang Tu selected another 10 pounds of fatty meat and chopped it into minced meat. This task took up the entire morning, and the shop boys and other customers dared not come close. Zhang Tu wrapped up the fatty meat and prepared to deliver it, but Luda asked for another 10 pounds of inch-gold soft bone, also cut into minced meat. Zhang Tu couldn't help but laugh. Luda, filled with anger, grabbed the 2 packages of minced meat and threw them at Zhang Tu, creating a shower of meat. Zhang Tu became enraged and grabbed a sharp bone-carving knife from the meat counter, rushing towards Luda. Luda had been waiting for him on the street, and the neighbors dared not step forward to stop them. Pedestrians also halted, and the shop assistants were stunned. Luda seized the opportunity and pressed down on Zhang Tu's left hand, kicking him and knocking him to the ground. Ruda continued his assault, punching Zhang Tu in the lower abdomen, which caused him to fall onto the street. Ruda was furious and confronted Zhang Tu, accusing him of deceiving the singing girl. He punched Zhang Tu in the nose, causing it to bleed profusely and twist to one side. Then, Ruda struck Zhang Tu's eye, splitting the eyelid and causing the eyeball to burst, with blood flowing incessantly. Zhang Tu was unable to fight back and could only beg for mercy. Lu De scolded him, threatening that if he persisted, he would spare Zhang Tu, but if Zhang Tu begged for mercy, he would not let him off. Lu De then struck Zhang Tu's temple, and Zhang Tu fell to the ground, barely breathing. Ruda thought that Zhang Tu was pretending to be dead and planned to beat him again. However, he realized that his 3 punches had already killed Zhang Tu, and he feared getting into trouble with the authorities. So, Ruda quickly packed his bags, grabbed his short stick, and left through the south gate, disappearing into the distance. When Lu De left, his neighbors and Zhang Tu's family dared not stop him. They were afraid of Lu Tai's might. Zhao Yuanwei asked Lu De with concern how he was settling in, to which Lu De replied that it was too quiet and a bit dull, and that he felt uncomfortable eating and drinking for free. Zhao Yuanwei then revealed that someone had been inquiring about news, worrying that they might be after Lu De. Lu De decided to leave, and Zhao Yuanwei suggested an idea, proposing that Lu De become a monk. Although hesitant, Lu De eventually agreed to go, hoping to find a place to settle down in the temple. Zhao Yuanwei recommended Lu De to the temple elder, as he had seen through the hardships of the mundane world and wished to renounce secular life and become a monk. Zhao Yuanwei earnestly asked the elder to consider taking Lu De as a disciple.
如能欲成此事，赵某实为幸甚。和尚。
The elder suggested that they needed to discuss and deliberate before making a decision. The monks started to chatter and debate. They thought it was a joke for Ruda to become a monk, saying, "Look at his appearance. He looks like a fierce and evil spirit. With his wide-open eyes, he could swallow people whole. He is so ugly and has a fierce demeanor. If he were to become a monk, it might cause trouble and bring harm to the temple." Ruda complained, "These monks are so tedious in their ways. Why can't they just make a decision with a simple yes or no? All this discussion is just a way to keep themselves busy and torment others." The head elder, deep in meditation, used his profound Buddhist wisdom to sense and perceive. Finally, he concluded, "This person is destined by the stars above. His heart is righteous and upright, though he may seem fierce at first. Over time, he will find peace and attain extraordinary enlightenment." Shaving his beard, Ruda was given the Dharma name Jishun by the elder, which carries the meaning of wisdom and profundity. The elder bestowed upon monk Jishun 3 important precepts, which will guide him on his path of cultivation, leading him towards righteousness. Do you think Lu Jishan can settle down, abide by the rules, and focus on his cultivation? Let's watch next video of Lu Jishan, who is addicted to alcohol and almost destabilizes the temple with his drinking. Do you like this video? I will update the next video if the comments reach 500 to judge whether this work is worth my time.